Hello and welcome back to Goldborn. Yeah, that's the name of the place. I'll remember it eventually, probably around 10 episodes in, but Goldborn. Welcome back. Do we already have a human? Why is there a human pikeman here? There's just a human pikeman here now. Probably trying to fight monsters or something, despite the fact we have none. Anyway, last time we got a bunch of whole stockpiles set up. This time we're going to get our workshops set up. That's the next goal. Yep, there he is, asking for petitions. Eradicating monsters. No, absolutely not. We do not need you here. I know, it's probably crushing to him, but we don't need them. So we need everything. We need to set everything up. So I'll set them up usually as I usually do. I have a system at this point of how I set up in what order and what things go together. So normally I set up my kitchens next to my stills, and the whole point of that is so it's all sort of in the one place. I know some people like to stick their stockpiles next to right next to things, but I don't. I like to have my stockpiles in one area and my workshops in the other, and that's just a personal thing. Obviously you don't have to do that. Some people would say that's a bad idea. Everyone sort of has their, I want to say, differing ideas on differing ideas on what makes or what lowers lag. So some people will stick their stockpiles right next to the individual, they'll make a room for just the cook, and they'll stick the food stockpile next to the cook, so the cook doesn't have to travel very far in between jobs. But the problem with that is that it creates sort of highways almost, where all your dwarves have to run halfway across your fort just to get food. So what I like to do is usually keep everything in one area. So for example, all of the resources that our fort is going to need are going to be in one central area, and for all the dwarves that are going to be doing things, they're going to be over here in this, working on stuff over here, basically. And in doing that, they're all going to be hopefully reducing the amount of pathfinding, because pathfinding always is what creates the most amount of lag. Pathfinding will kill a fort if you're doing it, which is I found out last time when I had all of my dwarves go. Oh crap! What is it? Yeah, there we go. I found out that last time when I had all of my dwarves pathfinding up and down 400 yards. I had them basically going up and down 400 Z levels. It was a terrible idea because if you have 60 dwarves pathfinding all the way up and down, it usually ends poorly for everyone. So we're gonna avoid that this time. Alright, so let's get everything up and running and never touch any of this again. Because usually you don't need to do this. Usually, once you set everything up, you really don't need... you set everything up, you really don't need to do more of it. Alright, clother's shop, let's build the looms. And there are certain things we're not going to build here. And I will explain why when we do it, but essentially the short version is that the metalsmiths and the jewelers and all of them, the crafts dwarves, the things that we need to have specific specific stockpiles for are going to be in other places on a different level, specifically so that they don't pull items from the regular stockpiles. And I guess I could explain it now. Nothing else is really going on. But the long and short of it, I guess, is that one of the problems with this game is that your dwarves will grab things based on proximity to where they are. So, for example, if I'm over here, and say here's a stockpile, right? If we had let's say we're doing a gem crafter shop right here, right? And there was a like, we had all of our weapons and armor, like, or the, I guess, mugs over here, but we had clothing right here. This is closer than this is, so your gem crafters will start grabbing everything from here rather than from here. So basically, what I've set up is everything that's on this level, like all the stuff that's in here, like the mugs and all that other stuff, that I don't want them encrusting with gems or smelting and other things, that's all going to be really far away. So the dwarves won't go and grab them, because they'll be too far away for them. They'll be like, oh, that's far away, I'm not going to go all the way over there, I'm going to stay over here, and then they will. And so that will save us a lot of time, and save us the problem of your dwarves deciding it's a great idea to encrust a single glove with like 400 different gems, which they will do, which is a huge waste, because if they just add a random cloth glove with all the gems, it'll deteriorate as they wear it, so we don't want them to do that. I think that's everything. All the workshops we definitely need over here. I know there's going to be more, but basically we're going to stick all the important ones on next level down. We're going to stick it on this level, probably, which is going to be its own mess, but we need the stock. You're going to need the stone workshops and the gem, or not workshops, stockpiles and stuff. Alright, we also should probably build a bedroom at some point, so I guess we're going to do that now. Apparently there's water over here? Yeah. Alright, so we'll dig that out. We will also build beds. We need... So I believe the interior range is like... I want to check this before I do this, because I always forget. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 9, 10, 11. Alright, so the interior is 11. So let's make 22 beds as a start. We'll also need to cut down some more trees, probably. I still haven't cut down the trees I've set them to cut down, so that's not good. Actually, it probably just means that I've given them too many jobs. So they're doing jobs as they get to them, essentially. Alright, so let's build beds, and we'll use this as our dormitory for our dwarves. And I know some people like building individual rooms for their dwarves, and I've done that. In fact, I did it the last game, and it was a terrible idea. And they're like, yeah, we need logs, and I know you need logs, that's why I told you to cut down some trees. So yeah, we'll make this a dormitory. Hi, if you cut down the trees, you'll have logs. Yeah, I know, you don't have logs. You don't have logs because, there you go. No logs because you're a little busy at the moment. Alright, so they're going to finish doing that. Let's also dig out this area. Obviously, there's a ton of minerals, because I set the world generation to have basically as many minerals as humanly possible. Apparently, there's also sand down here, so that's not terrible. So we're going to need two things, essentially. The workshops aren't going to take up that much space. The thing we need to worry about is stockpiles. Stockpiles are going to take up space. Specifically stone stockpiles and bar and block stockpiles, which will, once we start smelting things, it'll become a much bigger issue. But this should be mostly easy, I think. Alright, so we'll dig that out. You know what? Now, technically, I don't have cave-ins set to yes, so technically there will never be cave-ins, but I like to keep like dividing lines when possible. Yeah, so they're going to dig all this out. Now, obviously, we have a bunch of stone everywhere, and that's going to be an issue. But it'll be less of an issue when we make the stockpiles. So, first things first. We need to build we already built our mason shop, so the masons are less important than the crafts dwarfs, I think, if I remember correctly. So build the crafts dwarfs workshop. Wait, I did this wrong. Crap, did it wrong. Move these. Start again. Good thing I did it before they built them, because that would have been a pain in the ass. Alright, one space on each thing, and this ensures that your guys will be able to maneuver around them. Alright, so crafts dwarfs. We need our jeweler shops. And we're not going to bring the metalsmith's forges yet. Now we're going to build our wood furnaces, which we're going to need, because we're going to need those to build soap. We need lye for that. Alright, so we'll start with that. Let's also build some stone stockpiles over here. Sort of far away, I know, but we're going to hopefully haul most of this stuff away. Let's dig this out. And then we'll add our bar block stockpiles. And we'll add our gemstone stockpiles, and then we'll kind of go from there. And that should be mostly what we need, but then we're gonna have to set up our smelters. And our smelters are going to require lava, so that we're not constantly in need of wood to make. I mean, technically we won't if we burn a whole bunch of other stuff. We burn charcoal, but it's usually better to have lava. It'll make steel production easier. But again, steel production is much later. And that's probably when we have a lot more dwarves. Alright, so let's add gemstones. Now, one thing we do want to do is we want to turn the bins off for gemstones, because there's a bug in this game where how do I put this? Well, I guess the best way to put it is that oh god, more people. No, you're not allowed to come exterminate monsters. Go away. So there's a bug in this game where if things are in bins, if the bin is in use, only one dwarf can take things from it. And what that does is it basically causes the game to... It basically causes the game to think that you don't have items when you do. And it causes a lot of problems later on. So we're going to deal with that once they haul this stuff out of here. We should probably build the bar block stockpile like here. Probably another stone stockpile here. Okay. And then we will probably... I think the best thing to do would maybe stick the smelters like right here, probably. So we're going to need to actually dig out a little more space for that, which isn't too bad. We're almost essentially done with digging out all of our main areas. The last thing we need to dig out in terms of like a main sort of common area is a dining room. I think is what we need to do. So we'll focus on that. I guess we'll stick that here. No, that's got water next to it, so we can't do that here. I guess we'll dig it up here. And at some point we'll dig other things, but for now, this is basically where we're going to dig things. Build doors. Alright, we need to build, I believe these are set to 9. And then... So, the thing about this game is that one table can only be used by one chair. Meaning if a dwarf is sitting at a chair using a table, no one else can use that table. Alright, so we need rock tables. We need 18 of those. And we need rock thrones, I believe they're called. We need 18 of those. And they will be put in once they're built. We also need to set up a hospital Actually, now that I think about it, so we should probably put the hospital like here. And we'll set that up. Alright, so for that, we need 2 tables and 2 chairs. We need 2 cabinets. We need 2 chests followed by traction benches, which we can put here, I guess. We need 2 bags. I believe. I don't know why I have 99 cat leather bags, but we do. And then we need beds, essentially, for our hospital. So 1, 2, 3, and we need space for them to actually do doctor stuff. So now that we've done that, we need 20 beds. We need a rock cabinet, 2 of those. Rock table, 2 of those. Rock chair, or thrones. I don't know why they're all called different things. That's always bugged me. 2 rock thrones. We need rock mechanisms, which we'll probably build, I guess like 20 of those. Another thing we don't want them adding gemstones to mechanisms. Actually, now that I think about it, we need 2 more rock tables. And then we need rock traction benches, or just traction benches. We need 2 of those. Okay. And hopefully we don't end up with an excess of things, but we're probably going to. I'm going to set this as the hospital. Actually, before I do anything else, we're going to set this as animal training. Because obviously, as we breed things, we're going to set animals that we can war train to be war trained. And the reason for that is so that we make them our exterior guards. We'll have a reason to do it. Alright, so our hospital's completed. Let's set this to make a dining room for all of our nice dwarves. Making our meeting hall. Okay. Now we need to set... You know, I just realized we don't have a weapon or armor stockpile. Whoops. Alright, I guess that's going over here. More stuff to dig out that I totally forgot about. No, on some level I don't want to do this. Because there's going to be... There's a flaw with the auto labor that bugs me, but it's more of an annoyance when you have lots of miners. So essentially what it does is that the auto labor will do a check to see, like, you have maximum and minimum amount of guys who are set to any one labor. So if I set, like, 10 dwarves to be miners, for example, auto labor will say, okay, those 10 dwarves are miners, which means they need mining tools, which means they need picks, for example. And so the dwarves will go, okay, you need picks, so if it'll make a check, and the check will say, okay, if they don't have a pick, go pick up one. And so they will. The dwarves will then go pick up the picks. But then it'll say, is there any mining to be done? And it will say no, and so they'll go put down the picks. But then they'll, like, continually just, like, run away, and they'll do a job and come back and pick up the picks again, because they'll be like, oh, I'm a miner, I need a pick, but then they'll say there's no mining to be done, put down the pick, and it just repeats forever. We'll see that later. Oh good, it's now summer. So we're only 2 episodes in and it's already summer of the first year, and we've accomplished quite a bit. We may start getting migrants pretty soon, so we're kind of set up for that. No, I don't want it, guys, eradicating monsters, go away. We are going to need to dig out now. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to dig out pits, and there's a reason for this. Is there... There's a reason for this. The reason is that these are going to be where our our smelters are going to be. And there is a reason for why I'm doing it this way. Some people will say, oh, it's, you know, the correct way to play Dwarf Fortress is to stick all this stuff down, like, where the, like, lava is, but, or, like, sit around and pump it all up, but I'm not going to do that. We're not going to do that, because, as I've stated, that creates massive amounts of lag, and we don't want to create lag. Lag is bad, and I don't want this game to be running at, like, 2 frames a second, so we're not going to do it that way. And again, some people will say that's not the correct way to play Dwarf Fortress, and that's fine. If anyone else wants to play that way, you're more than entitled to. However, I will not be doing that, because that's a giant sort of... Because both methods of doing it the legit way of... how do you put it? Of building a... of, like, putting everything down to the very bottom. Like, putting everything down at, like, lava level, and having, like, 700 pumps pumping things to the surface. Both create huge amounts of lag. The first one creates lag because your guys are running up and down, 70 flights of steps. And the other one creates lag because you have guys on 70 levels all pumping up liquids. And I don't like either version, so we're not going to do either version. We're not going to do either version of that because it's dumb and I don't like doing it. We can create water here, though. Also, we're going to create this. Let's add... Okay. Let's get create water. And this is where we're going to create our wells. And the reason for this is because we don't really have any other water on our don't really have any wells on our map, or any, like, sources of rivers or anything, so that... I mean, we do technically have it underground, but I don't like doing that, because, again, things show up in those, and lag results is essentially the problem. And I encountered that last time, and we will... If this ever gets to, like, the point where we're, like, 20 episodes in, all the creatures that will start to die in those areas are going to create massive amounts of lag that I will need to deal with. But we'll deal with that then. So, now that we've done this, next time what we're going to do is we're going to dig down and discover the other different caves. And once we've discovered those caves, we'll start finishing up the last bit of our setup and start moving on to actual production. So that's this episode. See y'all later.